Another important item is food, nutrition. So the people of the Mediterranean are always excited about food. What they eat is so delicious, and really they feel good, and every meal is celebration. You see here Mediterranean diet. We in Bulgaria, we are not so close to Mediterranean Sea, but I know that in Bulgaria there is also excellent food. You see is here on this picture, excellent tomatoes, cheese, and other vegetables, and also not to forget excellent wine and even rakia. So you need not live at the Mediterranean and have excellent food to protect your health and your brain. Mediterranean antioxidants are mentioned like vitamin E, beta carotene, vitamin C, selenium, polyphenols. They are very important to lower levels of inflammation markers, because you know that oxidative stress is damaging our brain. So anti-inflammatory mechanism with antioxidants from this food can slow down atherosclerosis and have positive effect on cardiovascular status. There are a number of data and research and studies published about secondary prevention of stroke and of Alzheimer's disease and other cognitive impairments related to food. And this one is very nice, showing that those people who were eating more than 5 servings of fruit and vegetables per day, they had much lower risk of stroke than those who were eating less than that. Then in primary prevention, the first very important trial was PREDIMED, so prevention of stroke and cardiovascular and other cardiovascular problems like infarction and total death. And it was published in New England Journal of Medicine several years ago, showing that the group of people who were eating Mediterranean diet enriched with extra virgin olive oil, and the other group enriched with nuts, that they had much lower risk of getting stroke and myocardial infarction than those who were not eating Mediterranean diet. So this was very nice positive study. They were measuring intimal medial thickness in this group, and also intimal medial was much thinner in those who were eating Mediterranean diet. You can use all these tools of neuroscience to measure intimal medial thickness very easily, and it is very important data. And also they were making one brain scans by magnetic resonance imaging, assessing brain atrophy in cognitively normal individuals, but at risk for Alzheimer's disease. And you see here the difference. So those who were eating Mediterranean diet, they had no atrophy, very nice ventricles, and those without Mediterranean diet, eating other food, they had atrophy, external and also internal, with so obviously the brain tissue was also damaged without this food. Then another big intervention is so-called finger study, where they had multiple interventions. They used diet, but this one Nordic diet, because this study was initiated in Finland. They used Nordic diet, which was also shown to be, as Mediterranean diet is very useful. And then exercise and cognitive training, which was individualized, and vascular risk monitoring. So they found out that there was a reduction of cognitive decline by 30% in those who were within these 3 multi-domain trials present. And now this finger trial is going on as a model in several other parts of the world, in Singapore and Washington, in some other town in Europe. So we will have more data after several years. Here you see the relation with risk factor of stroke and one important ingredient of Mediterranean diet, this is wine. You see that about 2 drinks of wine per day was kind of protective, but then in stroke, it was published several years ago that it is everything dose dependent, so we should really restrain not to drink too much, because you see that this is one of the factors that really is important to avoid dementia. related to coffee, which is also for many of us the first ingredient in the morning. So Susanna Larsen was investigated and published a lot of that, and she found out that there was a reduction, relative risk reduction of stroke if we are drinking from 2 to 5 cups of coffee per day. And then related to other important ingredient is a dark chocolate with more than 70% cocoa, also decreasing the risk of stroke because dietary flavonols may lower risk of stroke in men and in women. Tea was also analyzed in many studies, and green tea, black tea, now we have white and yellow tea, all of them are very beneficial in reducing the risk of stroke from 1 to 3 cups per day. So they are also antioxidative, and the catechins and all other useful substances are there in them. What is also important is taking care about salt in our diet. So there are a lot of data showing that too much salt is not good. So we had in Croatia a nice campaign, less salt, more health. It was a kind of Croatian action on salt and health. And we have to really take care about consuming not too much salt. Also, sugar is one of the substances that should be reduced and not completely avoid, but reduce in our diet as well. Well, smoking has been mentioned already from Framingham study to many other studies. It was a proof that smoking is not good for our blood vessels and for cognition. So definitely we should refrain from smoking during our lifespan. Another important factor is stress. So reducing stress is important because stress has been shown to actually kill neurons and reduce the rate of creation one. So prolonged elevation in stress hormones is damaging our hippocampus, and we know that hippocampus is important for memory and for learning. And chronic stress changes neural networks. Cortisol can trigger stem cell to malfunction. So there are a lot of important advices what to do to relieve stress in our life. And I would like to mention this nice study that was published in Journal of American Heart Association several years ago about meditation and cardiovascular risk reduction. This is one of the proposals how we can reduce stress in our everyday life. Also, another important thing is the brain exercise. So we have to use our mental stimulation to improve memory, attention, some visual and auditory retrieving and listening, improving all these skills, because brain needs stimulus. It needs stimulus. We have to enhance and to activate this neuroplasticity and this so-called neuroplastic mechanism by several stimulus. So we have to use our brain, not to lose it with all these important stuffs like keeping learning foreign languages, then some unfamiliar tasks to enhance our activity and energy of our brain, then some walking, traveling, exploring areas, paying attention to the environment, writing short stories, reading newspaper, all these important news quiz would really be very useful for our brain. And another important item is sleep. It has been shown that a minimum of 7 hours of daily sleep seems to be necessary for proper cognitive and behavioral function. So because during sleep, the brain reorganizes it and recharges itself. And from the places of short, go to long-term memory and also activation of lymphatic system, which is important in taking out waste products during night. That's why we really need several hours of sleep each night. And another very important stuff is staying connected with people, with family members, friends, colleagues, people, because we have to develop and maintain stimulating friendships continually exposing ourselves to new stimulated activities. This is also one of important stimulus and for activation of our neuroplasticity, because it has been shown that plasticity makes it possible to sculpt our brain throughout the lifespan. So as Ramon and Cajal mentioned, we are sculptors. We have to use all tools to sculpt our brain during our lifespan. Of course, we must not forget to appreciate beauty, because after all, why live longer with a healthy brain if all we do is just think? So we have to really be engaged in music and visual art and reading and all of this beauty that are around us. It is necessary to incorporate it in our life. And apart from not just beauty and art, but also love is very important. I will finish my presentation with the results of Grant's Harvard 75-year study, which was done in Harvard and finished several years ago, and George Weiland, who was psychiatrist taking care for more than 15 years of the results of this study, he ended making investigation, and they concluded at the end they wanted to reveal the secrets of happy living, and they said that happiness is love, and the only thing what really matters in our life is our relationship to other people. So with this in mind, I would like to invite you next year, and welcome to Croatia, to our events. We have traditional Mind and Brain Congress at the end of May in Pula in Istria, and International Summer Stroke School, Healthy Lifestyle and Prevention of Stroke and Other Brain Impairments, and in Dubrovnik. So you are all most welcome. I hope we will be able to communicate person in person, not just there, but also in other beautiful spots and places in Bulgaria and all over the world. Thank you for your attention.